everyone else, welcome to Geek Mythology, a podcast brought to you by my good friend Sow.
And Seth here, also known as Sugi on YouTube.
And it is episode 13. We are on the 13th episode, and we've got a special episode here for you today. We're going to be talking about our friend groups, I guess, and like friends and what we do in our free time, stuff like that. Just basically all about our lives, I guess. If that makes sense.
Except we're starting with cults.
But we're starting with cults because when I was writing up this episode,
no, shush, you're forgetting something, Seth.
the joke.
Yeah.
I really wanted to talk about my cult, but anyway, okay. Before the cult stuff.
Okay, the joke comes first.
The joke. Why is Gaston, the bad guy from Beauty and the Beast, why is Gaston the most peaceful villain?
Because he's Gaston, and Gaston is a great guy. I don't know the song.
Oh, no, the song goes like... I'll sing the song later. Here's the punchline. It's because he won the Nobel Peace Prize. Because he didn't get Bell. Do I have to explain?
Oh, so you... No. The weird thing is, you cut off as you said Nobel, and I was like, was he meant to say prize there?
Yeah, the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, I cut off. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, my internet isn't that great.
Also, I didn't exactly clock Bell either. To be fair, I didn't clock that much. I'm still yet to watch Beauty and the Beast, but I think after Soul, Beast is my next watch.
You haven't seen it. I keep forgetting.
Or maybe I'll watch Beast then Soul. I don't know, because Soul just came out on Disney Plus and all. But this isn't the episode for that. Today we're talking about how weird our school is, essentially.
Yeah, but also, you got the song stuck in my head. The Gaston song. It goes like, "Na Gaston." I don't know the words. I just know the tune. It's like na na na.
No, it's like nobody fights like Gaston. Nobody eats like Gaston. Or
yeah,
it goes
yeah.
That's how it goes.
And then something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to start this?
I started.
I was
going to talk about cults, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Cults. So, you may be wondering, why did I mention cults, and why is this part of the podcast? So anyway, when I was thinking about ideas, right, what to talk about, I was just mind mapping weird things, and cults came into my mind because I remember this cult almost. It wasn't really a cult. It was more like a friendship group with weird rules. Yeah, friendship group with weird rules. And I was like 11. Like this was in year 7.
Yeah, this was like
it was essentially just a friendship group with weird rules, and like we had like this role play government society sort of thing. And it started in a maths lesson, I think. We were at the back of the class, and we like this was in year 7, so like people you sat next to were the sort of people you became friends with, right?
Because your form, which was not even your houses then for us, was just your class. So was it like an alphabetical seating, or was it just random seating?
No, it was alphabetical. It's alphabetical.
Oh, so like these were the people you'd sit with in maybe other classes as well.
Yeah, so this is like the sort of people we hang out with, and someone called Tom, like I won't say their full name.
So no. Yeah, I can guess which one it is. I can guess.
Really?
Yeah,
you're gonna be surprised when you find
alphabetical order.
You're gonna be surprised when you find out this Tom isn't the Tom we're talking about.
Okay. I have 2 Toms in mind because they're right next to your surname.
Surname begins with an E. That Tom. I bet you're really surprised.
No, I didn't hear what you said, sir.
A Tom with a surname beginning with E. I bet that's the last Tom.
I forgot about that one. I forgot about that one. I'm sorry if you ever hear this. I'm sorry I forgot about you. I thought about the other 2.
Oh, no,
But anyway,
the other Tom. Wait, they're all near my surname because the other two have
there's
D
three
and
of them.
D as their and then C. My surname's
Yeah,
C.
CDE.
CD. Yeah.
Anyway, enough about Tom. What was this quote about? What was
So
it
yeah,
basically like?
so we were so this guy called Tom, begin with surname beginning with E. He was in my maths class, and he sounded like the row behind me, and they started this like cult thing, this friendship group where we we were called hamsters. It's really it gets weirder and weirder. So yeah, first of all, it was like a cult. Second of all, we were like we were called hamsters, right? Because the way you got initiated into this cult was they'd like squish your cheeks like a hamster or something like that.
Well,
It's
you guys
weird.
just like.
It's weird. I know.
Okay, well, I guess now you have to make a hamster skin on Minecraft. So. I'm kidding.
So yeah, it's weird. So but yeah, it was just this weird.
Was there like was there
group.
anything else to it, or was it
No,
just
we
like
were just role playing like a society. People had like assigned jobs, which was it was just purely symbolic. You didn't do anything apart from this guy is the prime minister. This guy's the like role play government.
Okay, yeah. You know what you were, or were you part of? You were part.
I was part of it.
Right? You were like.
I don't remember what job I had. No, I don't remember. It's so weird. I only remember the weird stuff, and like the only reason I remember this is because it was weird. Okay. It was because it's weird. This friendship group didn't last.
Yeah.
After
I can imagine.
It just because we all had different interests, right? We all found like other people to hang out with.
Like I'm assuming from what you've said, like it was a really mix of the groups we have now. Like you're from our group, then the Tom you mentioned is like one of the more sporty kids.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess like in year 7 it was definitely, I say more mixed. My form in year 7 was very like it was the friend group I have now, really. Plus some people
this friendship group was only a thing because we were put in the same class and that's who we hang out with. Yeah. But in year 8, when we were put in different classes, we started to mix more with other people, and then we made our own new friendship groups. Like, I guess
I would not have been in your class until year 10 if we hadn't met in choir. Like, that's the truth of that.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, and I know. Yeah. But anyway, so this friendship group was just the thing that happened in year 7. It didn't last, but I'd say if I had to I'd talk to them like comfortably now. Like they're not bad people. I'd say they weren't annoying. Like some of them, I wouldn't call them the bestest of friends, but they're in that circle. Like
you're definitely acquaintances at least.
At least acquaintances. And we still hang out with each other sometimes. Well, not hang out, but like talk to each other a lot.
Yeah.
So with some of the people in that friendship group.
Can I mention something about quote unquote cults?
Cults.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we're using this term lightly. It's like it's a very light term we're using. But basically, it's not really a cult. But you're gonna understand what I mean. The AstroTurf gang.
Okay.
You know what I mean. It's not really a cult
that hangs out by the AstroTurf in the playground.
The AstroTurf, right? Yeah. So basically, we don't really do cult things, but say there's just these certain moments where one person starts doing something, then the rest of us start doing it, and it's just a good giggle.
It's like mob mentality sort of stuff. Like that time in the common room when one person started clapping, and then we all started our friendship group started clapping, and then the whole common room was just clapping.
That's one of the more normal things. There's 2 other occasions which I can remember, which it was slightly like, why did we do this?
Yeah.
And it also involved teachers in a very small way.
What?
But basically, on the AstroTurf, I remember once, I think it was either clapping or we were standing there where, like you interlock your fingers in front of you and you hold your hands out, like out, and you sort of just like stand there, like, with your hands in front of you. Like,
I don't know what this is.
Anyway, so basically, it's where you just stand there with your hands in front of you, sort of, right?
Okay.
So like, it's either that or we were clapping, like, and we were sort of clapping, and we were for some reason facing the teachers. One of them. I don't want to say their names really, because I don't know. Okay, but that was one time where we all decided to just do that. I think it was probably clapping. The other time is where we basically harmonized while facing at a teacher. One of them basically started going like, and the rest of us all started going like, and there were just like at least 5 of us just like standing there going like, like.
That's not a cult. Yeah, that's just being weird.
Yeah, no, the AstroTurf gang, we might not all be like the closest of friends, but we're friends enough where things just happen, like dogpiling, stuff like that.
Dogpiling.
You know where like you like one person's at the bottom and you just keep piling on top of each other.
Yeah, I see that.
This is the sort of thing that you would like probably never get mixed into.
Just to
really?
As a clarification to the listeners out there, I am not affiliated with this group. Okay, I'm gonna walk 10 meters away and I'll just watch from a distance, people just stacking on top of each other like a pile of pancakes.
Yeah, no, you are not at all associated with whatever we do.
Nope, and I'm fine with that because I don't think I could survive being at the bottom of a pile of people.
Oh, no, like, I'm normally at the bottom. But anyway, the point is that's sort of the group that I can think of that just the weirdest things happen. But then again, there's the whole, this is probably safe to say, like, the quote-unquote homosexual stuff that happens in the common room. Like, where we just, like, sometimes sit on each other or sometimes just, like, it's just normal friend stuff, but we kind of make it weird by saying homosexual. But it's just normal friend stuff. But it's like, the common room has definitely got us all to interact a lot more, I feel.
No, yeah,
we know what I mean?
Very tight-knit.
Ignoring the sentiment of homosexualness, right? It's definitely helped us, like, especially considering we have to be in the common room, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, really leave. I'm not in this group. I sort of just watch it happen.
Okay. Ignore that specific group by itself. It really helps a lot of us more interact together because, like, I would never find because, like, I'd say I have 2 distinct friend groups. Like, you guys, then I guess we'll call them the League gang because they all play League.
You play League of Legends, yeah.
I don't, but like those guys do. Yeah. So like those are the 2 distinct friend groups I'm in. You guys, it's not like you guys don't talk to each other. You talk to each other. You just guys are kind of like separate, right? Because there's a Minecraft gang essentially. You guys.
I mean, we don't partake in a physical relationship. That's
anyway. My point is, I don't think I'd be in a room where like I'd be able to interact with both groups at the same time, but I do. Because it's in the same room because we have to be in the same room.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just name his name. Like Jeanette and you. Like, you guys have definitely talked a lot more this year because I've been existing in the same room as you two, and
talk
like
to each other more.
Yeah. That's sort of what I mean. So, yeah, I definitely like.
You're like the
common room.
You're like the middleman.
Yeah.
You're like.
I'm like sort of like the.
You're the glue between the 2 friend groups. And I know you're like introducing the glue, I mean. And I know you're like introducing some of the people from that friend group to ours in the form of like inviting them to join our diplomacy game, which we will talk about later. But anyway,
that's another big thing. What else?
Your friendship group is weird. But it's not a cult because you don't have an initiation ceremony.
Where did the initiation ceremony come from?
So my
is this to do with the government? Is this to do with that?
Yeah, my hamster cult had an initiation ceremony of some sort. I don't exactly remember the details, but I do remember it was a closed doors friendship group, and you had to be invited in. And if you were, you had to do this like initiation thing.
Oh, yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, I understand why the word cult would be used much more strongly there.
Yeah, we didn't do anything bad. We
no. A cult don't need to be bad. You know,
apart
cult
from
doesn't necessarily mean negative thing. You know,
apart from maybe disrupting the maths class because we talked a lot at the back. Apart from that,
I
like...
mean, since I talk about cults, I guess I'll say this. I feel like from just movies and stuff, right? Whenever you hear the word cult, you think of a bunch of extremely devout religious people who want to murder everybody who's not with them, sort of thing. It's the sort of thing you might think. But cult doesn't necessarily mean that. Like, I'm going back to TikTok once again, but like somebody talked about like when they were younger, they lived with their dad, and when they were older, they found out their dad was basically in a cult, and they
Oh my
basically lived
god.
around the cult,
No.
right? But
Yeah.
but basically, the cult wasn't anything bad. They were just religious people to this thing, and they were all very kind. And it's not like they were bad.
It's like a
Cult is
culture.
just sometimes
Short for culture.
is that
I don't know. I just thought about that now. I just thought about that.
But yeah, that's what I mean. Like cults don't need to be bad things. They're just a group in the end. Like just because, of course, in a lot of films they might be shown as like, oh, cults are the people who, you know.
I mean, you just made me remember we had this pretend war, a rival cult, which was like another thing we made up. It's like a subgroup of the original cult. It's like a splinter faction of the hamster group. It was the rats group. And then we had like
Are you call us weird? Are you call us weird?
So we had this like rat splinter faction which broke off, and we were all friends at the end of the day, but you know, it was a bit fun to have a bit of rivalry between the two cults. You just made me remember that we had like a pretend war. It wasn't we weren't like, it wasn't a hostile thing. We were all friends at the end of the day, but you know, it's a bit of fun just to have a bit of conflict.
I mean, just to take a bit of a left turn here, right?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned like how rivalries make it fun, right? Make something fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally taking like from cults to like video game over here. And this podcast is gonna come out like in a month, maybe a month or something like that. But like at the time of recording, I just started playing Pokemon Go.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Just to mention this. You know this a lot, and everybody knows I talk about it a lot just because I got into it right now. So of course I'm playing it a lot, and it also makes me go outside, which is wonderful, to be honest. Honestly, when it came out,
because I haven't gone outside.
It is actually. I don't get cold easily, right? But it is freezing right now in the UK, mind you.
I mean, I haven't gone outside in ages. Partly it's my fault for not making the active decision to want to go outside, but I do open my window because coronavirus and all that, and it doesn't feel that cold in my opinion.
Oh no, no. Well, I mean, it might just be because I don't go outside around Christmas normally anyway, because I'm normally inside.
Yeah.
But like Pokemon Go, I have to travel at least like 5 minutes away from my house to do anything, because Pokemon Go is you have to go outside. Of course, there are people who play it inside, but that's the okay. Anyway, getting back to my point, the reason I really want to go outside to play Pokemon Go is because of the teams, right? And there are gyms.
The teams.
Where you have to capture gyms for your team, or like to even get coins and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But like that's why I've just had this really good motivation to just go outside and maybe like 10-minute radius around my area and just like go around and capture the gyms, like play. Because like if it was just like just catching Pokemon, I can do it within my house, right? But these gyms aren't close enough to my house where I can just play from home. I need to actually go maybe even like 2 minutes down the road to go to a gym, and from that I just go around, and like that's the sort of thing. When there's a rivalry, it makes you want to do something a bit more, you know.
Motivation, I guess, when you've got a rivalry. Yeah.
Also, like I was going to say this, but when the game first came out, the reason I would think of to ask my mom if I could get data is to get a game that would make me go outside. And like 3 years later, when I actually got the game, what is it doing? Making me go outside.
Like when you ask your parents, can I please have this new mobile data package, whatever? I'll go outside, I promise.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, it is a fun game if you like Pokemon. You put like, obviously a lot of people first got it because it's like, oh, it's a new game where you have to like go around to play it.
I know.
But
I think there are many people who would have gotten Pokemon Go not because they were a Pokemon fan, but it was because Pokemon Go was a very mainstream thing, and it was a very new thing with like it was like the first of its kind where you had this
it
like
was the second mainly actually because it was based off something, and actually the company which made Pokemon Go has pretty much made every like AR outside walking game.
Yeah,
Like they made the first one, which is Ingress. They made Pokemon Go, and they made Wizards Unite for Harry
the
Potter.
Harry
You
Potter
actually
one.
got that 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure you were playing it
I did get the Wizards
on
Unite
Sports
game,
Day.
but I
I
never
feel like I remember that.
yeah, I did, but I was playing around on Sports Day, walking around the field. I never got into it because I didn't have much data, and also my phone had a terrible battery life. And for those games, you kind of
I have a
need
ton of data now.
a ton of data, and you need a pretty good battery. I think
Yeah.
to run those games.
I was going to say, anyway, just to close this Pokemon Go segment off, because I just came up to it because you mentioned rivalries. But like me and my friend, Manav, because he might watch this, he might not. He's my friend. And
And
like
he's also
now we
part of the
realize,
weird homosexual group.
no, he's part of the league group. So
Okay,
they are slightly,
okay,
they're
okay.
slightly
They're slightly
not as
different,
much, not as much
but
as the Astroturf group, but you know. But anyway, my point being, right, the fact that we both are in the same team in the game of Pokemon Go. So we decided, what if during lunch on school days we just go around like the high street area and just see if there are any gyms we can capture? So like that's like it's given us something to do during school, like when school starts up, obviously, because right now we're in the holidays.
yeah.
Because when we're recording this,
And
but
hopefully
like
school
normally
starts
I'd be
up.
sitting inside talking to one of you guys, but like now I have a reason to leave the school at lunch and like have a bit of fun while I'm doing it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because yeah, basically I'm saying Pokemon Go. It's definitely a nice game, especially due to the competitive aspect, both within a team and individual sort of stuff as well. But I'm just saying, Pokemon Go basically became a lot more fun than I first anticipated. I feel
Yeah,
like even a few months down the line, right, I'll still be relatively into it as well.
yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
sorry for the bit of a tangent,
so
but I just
yeah,
thought that was something cool because of rivalries and how rivalries and competitiveness is always my motivation to play things. There's actually something we're going to mention
and
later, which is
speaking of,
paintball. Like
but also
that
speaking
day.
about competitiveness and rivalry, I'm gonna move on to backstabber and diplomacy because that can get pretty competitive and pretty I wouldn't say heated, but like you could ruin friendships in it if
I would say
if you're not mature about it.
Tense at least.
So
You know,
diplomacy is this game, a board game which we play. It's to do with like conquering Europe or conquering the world.
yeah,
It's kind of like Risk. If you know what Risk is, it's like this domination game where you have to try and like
I've actually never played it myself.
take over the continent. It's like a war game. It's kind of like Hearts of Iron or like those sorts of games anyway. But it's like a board game.
It's a simple concept,
Yeah.
really.
And
but
I know there's the in real life version of this. People play it during lunch times. But then there's the online version where you could play the same board game but online, and that's where we've got this like friendship group, and like so that yeah, we've got this group of people like that play board games, and I know that we started going to board games club, and I haven't actually gone to board games club recently because I was self-isolated. I did go once.
I don't think any of us couldn't actually go again because after the first one, the second one was our last day.
Oh right. So there was just no more board games club after that one.
Yeah. But can I just mention how I got into diplomacy?
Yeah, sure.
Of course, there's our friends who played it, and I'd heard of it, obviously.
Yeah.
But during Spanish, we used to have like a Chromebook lesson a fortnight, right?
Yeah.
So like, our two friends, both Tom and Gabriel, they would take this chance sometimes to look at their orders in the online game.
Yeah.
And I was like, that looks interesting. Can I join? And I was, of course, joined a game eventually, and yeah, that's
you know what's funny? It's because I was in that game, in that online game, and I do the same thing in English, where we sometimes had Chromebooks, and I do it there. But also,
I mean, it's something to do.
it is fun, right? It's a bit of a distraction, but also I was the sort of guy who would get spies. Like, I got some guy in my English class, to go and spy on Tom and Gabriel. You know, just because he was in the same Spanish class. And I just got him to, glance over at their screens and see what they're doing or overhear their conversation, because spying is obviously quite useful.
I mean, I can understand not playing nicely and like betraying people, but to have somebody outside the game come in, and I mean, like the way you'd spy inside the game is you'd ask somebody to like
Be a
align
double
for
agent,
something.
I
Like,
guess.
yeah,
I mean,
double
I've
agent,
played that role, being a double agent, because when you play this game, you want to make alliances, I guess, if you want to like team up on someone, or if you want to survive.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
useful
I
to
feel
know
like
what the other side is doing. So
I feel like, you know, in a lot of games, even in like Minecraft Skywars, when we're playing like solo, like I always have this immediate instinct to go like, hey, can we truce so I can live a bit longer? Or can we kind of like strike a deal so I can live a bit longer? Sort of like I become very sort of, you know, trying to please somebody so I can survive a bit more, you know?
I think I've exposed myself too much, because I think I'm gonna be the sort of guy who gets targeted now, because
I mean, especially after
I've
that
done
last game
I've done a
we
lot of
had.
questionable things, like that. We played a game where I was a double agent for like half the game, and I was playing both sides. It was quite hard,
I
in my
mean,
opinion, to do
yeah.
that.
I mean, if we're going to talk about the latest game that we completed, for me at least, and probably
I
you,
can't believe you betrayed me, Sal. I wasn't
I
gonna
mean,
betray you. I was gonna betray the other side.
yeah, I did feel bad, but then I was like, this is my chance to get a solo win,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure it's my first win as well, maybe. So I was like, this is my chance. I have to take it. There's no possible way he could, because
No,
the
there
way
was
our
no
forces
possible
were
way.
positioned. Do you know do you know at the start of the game, Gabriel was like, "Oh, game, you could have taken Sao out because you had me relatively surrounded."
Yeah, no, I was going to backstab you, right? Because I had you
Yeah,
surrounded. But then you played so nicely and you helped me that I actually trusted you, and I felt comfortable enough to move away my armies away from you, and then that's what cost me my win. It's just I didn't
it
think
was
you would
definitely
backstab me.
interesting because I was like, I see an opportunity near the end of the game where I can take his supply centers. And I realized this may mean nothing to anybody else, but the sort of area where Austria, Greece, and Turkey are, and like the edge of Russia, maybe, or like those sort of lands, called the Balkans in this game.
Yeah.
We refer to them as the Balkans. It's a really strong defensive position if you capture all of them.
Yeah, I think
Which
if you remember, we played a game, uh, like I think it was a gunboat game, and you were playing Germany and I was Turkey. Do you remember that? It was like
was
this.
the one we did, the last one we did.
No, this was like
Oh,
before, like
I
last year.
can't really remember.
But like
I
the last
it
game we
was
were
some
playing, when I was Germany and you were Turkey, and I was like, this is a very similar situation to that game from last year. And from that game last year, Turkey won because I was playing Turkey, and I was basically in the same position as you. Once you control the Balkans, once you like
I mean,
defeat
yeah, like
Russia and
a
Austria.
tip to anybody who does play, and not that experienced or something. But if you're either Turkey, Austria, Russia, or even Italy, try and take the majority of the Balkans because it's just a really good defensive position because everybody can support everybody.
Yeah.
It's sort of compared to like the coast of France or Germany. Germany is also very similar, but the Balkans are supply centers which aren't home supply centers, so everybody has a chance to take them,
Yeah.
and it's just really good. But
Thing is,
anyway, the point
if
is,
you play as Austria, because Austria is so close to that region, I feel like the only way Austria can survive is by having an alliance and then hoping you don't get backstabbed.
I mean, the thing is, Austria is the only country with a chance to take two of the Balkans in their first turn, at the risk of maybe losing some other supply centers some of their home supply centers because some other people might decide to attack them.
I mean, look, I'm pretty sure everyone decides to attack Austria.
Yeah,
Apart from
yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, I was just gonna say, I feel like I've exposed myself too much because I've just said out loud some of the dirty stuff I've done. And I hope that doesn't ruin any friendships. And I was gonna say, unless you are mature about this game, you might get salty with your opponents.
Yes.
So you have to be quite mature about this. And like, you know how I sent you like messages right on Discord, like, I can't believe you did this. I mean them, okay?
Yeah, I know. But it does. I did feel very bad after you said that because I was like, I don't want to do this, but I can win.
Yes.
It's like it's sort of the whole thing where like if it was an actual war, you'd be like, you might like have some sacrificial troops or something. And
it reminds me, I did read an article about some middle-aged white man, I think.
Okay.
Who played diplomacy when he was younger, and the article was all about how it ruined friendships. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that happening, but thankfully it hasn't happened to us. I don't think we sort of don't like each other in this friend group. I mean, like, we do sort of we have a strong rivalry, right? But we don't take it out in real life.
I was gonna say, like, diplomacy is like, I don't want to put this in too much of a real context, right? But like, because obviously it doesn't have individual people as your troops; they're just like shapes. But like, it's the whole thing about like sometimes it's either you have to go against somebody or you have to like sacrifice something. I was like, you don't want to sacrifice anything. I take this. Don't sacrifice anything in diplomacy because you need.
You know what? If you're a real life like general and you play as if you're playing diplomacy, I think you're a bit of a bad guy. Because when we play diplomacy, there are no lives at stake. You can sacrifice as many armies as you want. You can drag on the war for 14 years and not care. But if you're gonna
I was gonna say what I was trying to say is the fact that in diplomacy, if you don't care about every single troop you have on the board, you're not gonna do well because you can't win without the troops. You need them to like support.
It's like playing chess, right? I used to just sacrifice all my pawns and not care, but now I try to keep every single piece alive because they all play a part. Yeah. I'm not that good of a chess player, so I can't talk much about it.
I was gonna mention I'm gonna mention that. It was basically about this. I'm gonna mention it.
Okay.
This anime I watched recently, to very briefly say, is basically an anime which is all about war and people going to war and lords going to war against each other. And like the main character is somebody who would not want to lose anyone and cares about everybody and tries not to get civilians involved in such. And it's just really cool to see somebody like that commanding something like an army, because almost every time the point everybody makes is that he always seems to have volunteer armies because he's a very like communal, he's a lord that came from communal lands, so his armies are always voluntary, but it's because people want to fight for him. Because it's just sort of like you have to be I don't, of course we know nothing about this, but I feel like being a very charismatic leader is the way to go when you're leading something. Of course, like dictatorships and stuff won't.
It reminds me of the Clone Wars, because like in the movies, all the clones are just expendable people that get shot very easily. But Clone Wars like gives humanity to these clones who are pretty faceless beings.
Do you know something we can put against each other? Characters in the Clone Wars to like. We started with diplomacy, but we'll talk about this. But Krell against somebody like Anakin or Obi-Wan or Mace Windu, right? You know, the good
general, the bad. I mean, he's such a bad guy. General Krell, I think.
Probably one of the most hated people. I don't know the.
He's like the Umbridge of Star Wars.
Right? Yeah, he's not like, I don't know much about the overall opinion, but like,
everyone hates him.
If you come out of watching Clone Wars liking Krell, there's something wrong with you.
He is the Umbridge of Star Wars. He hates clones. He does not regard their life to be important. He made the clones fight each other. You don't do that in war.
Yeah, can we just say, disregarding spoilers, by the way, disregarding the fact that he started serving the Sith, right?
Or the
Even if
dark
he
side,
wasn't serving the Sith or the dark side, I think his normal battle strategies were those when he was serving the Republic or
he
serving the Jedi Order.
he didn't
Those
care
were
about
his battle strategies.
he didn't care about the individual lives. He just sacrificed many troops for the sake of the greater good. But at what cost? He sent so many troops to their deaths, which is
it would have been fun because, of course, there were some battle strategies in even history, I think, where, of course, people are sacrificed. But that's normally because the troops accept that they have to do this and they're not forced into it. And the leader in the end ends up feeling remorse or something like that, right?
well.
But this man felt
there's
nothing.
always sometimes you have to think about the benefits, right?
Yeah.
Is it worth sending to sacrifice all of this? Maybe it's the case that it's worth it. But with General Krell, he's gonna choose the more expendable option. That there could be better plans and better strategies out there, but he chooses the one that gets all his army killed.
I mean, do you know a strategy that I'm not sure whether I saw it in fiction or whether it was a real life thing that happened, right? But one thing I've heard of is there was this battle going on. The enemies like came through this place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a troop of soldiers standing in front of them of the enemy's thing. And what they did is apparently, of course, again, I don't know whether this is real or where I got this from. I have no source, but I remember hearing this. Whereas they basically killed themselves, this troop of soldiers, to distract the enemy, while their fellow soldiers came and ambushed them from behind.
That's a bit of a weird distraction. I mean,
yeah, it is.
You might as well attack them.
Yeah,
it will have achieved the same outcome, and you might kill
I don't know where I got it from. If anybody has heard of something like that, please tell me, because I don't know where I got it from myself.
But anyway, back to the Clone Wars. You've got one general who doesn't care about the individual lives of a soldier, but then you've got other generals like
a lot of generals,
or lots of the Jedi, like General Plo Koon and even Ahsoka, who actually care for the individual clones, and they don't see them as expendable troops. They see them as people.
Dark side, in terms of the dark side generals, right? Not even just the people explicitly who are Sith, right? Even just the Imperial leaders as well. Yeah. The Empire, they had some.
They don't care about their.
Yeah, exactly. Especially Anakin. As much as we love you before you turned evil, but once you became Darth Vader, you were throwing away leaders, not even just troops. Right? He was throwing away leaders, and he was like, you know what? Kills the man and goes like, you're admiral now, or you're general now. It's like,
force choking everyone.
Yeah, Star Wars definitely shows a side of like war. If you have no other exposure to it, that there are people like that, or there were people, or there might still be people who would treat their countrymen like that.
Yeah, they don't see them as people; they see them as like a number.
You see this in fiction, right? You see this in fiction, right? But these sorts of people exist and have existed. I don't know specific examples, but especially during the literal war times of like a few hundred years ago. Yeah, even World War II. I don't know.
World War One. I think there are several battles where, they just sent troops out without much regard for their life.
So if we're going to talk about World War II, it's just the whole war itself was just a bit. It was a stalemate for 4 years because of the advancements of technology. So that whole war was kind of pointless in terms of people's lives. Really,
I think we've covered backstabber and all that, and war.
Yeah, sorry, just to wrap this up, you never think about something like what the lives were in wars like that until you sort of think about it like this and think about individual lives, really.
But seeing as we were talking about like battle strategies in the Clone Wars, it will segue nicely to paintball, which is another thing we had written down.
Yes.
Because when we got invited to a paintball party like January 2020,
5th.
A different Tom's birthday.
Yeah, I remember the date. Yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day.
It was a good day, and also I remember in the lead up to the paintball, we were like getting a bit excited.
Yeah, we were. There's nothing more to paintball than getting the gear and going out there and doing it, right? But we were we not that anything we like quote unquote researched helped us on the day, because on the day it was just what we did that helped us, right?
Yeah.
Because spoiler alert, we won the day, at least between the two teams. We actually no, forget that. There were 4 teams there. We only went against one team, right? But we won the whole day. We were the highest points, and it was funny because the start of the day we were kind of losing horribly, really. But then the second half of the day we cleaned. We were amazing.
But also, like, I just want to say how I think maybe it was influenced by the fact we did a lot of research before. I know I was saying that, oh, I've watched a lot of the Clone Wars. I kind of know my military battle tactics.
I mean, I obviously had not seen the Clone Wars at that point, but like I was definitely, like we mentioned earlier, the competitiveness of the day motivated me so much, especially like the second game gave me such a motivation boost because I did something that everybody was like, what is this man doing? And obviously by the end of the day, because of that, I actually got a certificate for like, oh, you were such a good person. Yeah, but it was basically like I was way motivated. Like
just to run into the middle of the battlefield and start shooting everyone. I think that's what you did, right?
Yeah, like the start of the game. Yeah, it's like it just makes me think of like some like cartoons where like there's like even like Pokemon or like Star Wars where like it's not the most straightforward things that get people's attention or get people's or work even, right? Because like it was basically a game where we had to take something to the other side. So I asked before the game even started the marshal if like, are we allowed to just put down our guns and just go without them? And he was like, yeah. I don't think anybody expected for somebody on a day of paintball.
The guns were quite heavy, I'd say.
They weren't that heavy.
They weren't that heavy, but like it's a bit of a hassle to carry around because you've got that gas canister.
That basically became the strategy for the rest of the day, where like some of us would literally just go without guns. We were the runners, really. Like, while other people had the guns, and it wasn't a bad strategy. And honestly, I didn't expect for me on my first day of paintball to not use the gun.
Like honestly. if I was gonna say like paintball's quite pay to win. Like you have to buy. If you can buy the ammo, but like you get ammo given. But
we were lucky we were there with a
If you want more,
we were
like,
lucky we were there
you're
with
gonna need to buy them.
Yeah, you need to buy them.
I was gonna say, if I had more money, if I had more paintballs, I think I would have definitely laid down a bit more covering fire. You know,
that was definitely me and one of our the person who invited us, Tom, one of his friends. I got relatively close with him in terms of the paintball game, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of put our money together to buy ourselves our own paintballs, and that kind of saved us during the last game. I think the funniest thing about that game is at the end of the day, in the very last game, in the last like 10 minutes of the last game, the 3 people, me, our friend Enzo, and our Tom's friend, we were all in this. It was the Star Wars based map, so we were all in the shuttle.
The Imperial. I was outside.
Funniest thing was, we got shot multiple times, but none of the paintballs burst.
So
we were invincible for some reason.
I know that in that very same game, I was outside the shuttle, like just ensuring no one got near you.
We spent our whole time in there,
and then I got peppered by paintballs, and I tried to take
cover. Anyway, the point is the fact that we bought the paintballs saved us, because as soon as you run out of ammo, you're meant to yeet out of there, like leave, right?
Yeah.
So like we religiously followed those rules throughout the day. So when we said anybody without paintballs, take a single paintball so you're legally allowed to play, and just don't use it. Just go around.
Just
do the objectives. But the point is, can I basically describe what happened in terms of our turning point in the game? Because I'm sorry, I still love it to this day, and I'd love to go again. Or like laser tag we mentioned. But the point is, we were losing the first 3 maps we played. Then the latter 5 or so we did. We just destroyed. We demolished.
The best game mode that we did well in was the like the deathmatch one, where you had those barrels.
Oh, the speedball.
Yeah.
That was where actual because there was
military
no objective
tactics.
other than kill, really.
I think we were like
that was
pretty
definitely the
efficient with
most
that.
that was the most battle focused,
Yeah.
obviously.
I think we were pretty efficient with that, and like we had good teamwork. People lay down covering fires. People advanced forward.
I was gonna say we even sort of ghosted. That was the greatest thing. I even tried ghosting. But yeah, I was gonna say, basically, I think the reason I don't want to give myself credit, but I definitely feel like I got way more motivated once I actually decided, wait, they have information about each game mode. What if we just thought about each game mode before we even played it?
You were motivated.
So I was
the moment you got given the invitation. I know. I think you were sending me like videos, right, of like tactics.
No. I really didn't look at anything really, but I think it was just like the adrenaline of the second game just got to me for the rest of the day.
I know in terms of preparation, you talked about walkie-talkies and code words, which I want to mention.
Oh, it was just I feel like it's such an amazing thing to do, right? You can't not be excited to play paintball.
No.
Unless obviously like I feel like definitely like we almost got put on separate teams before we told the marshals, oh, we're like, no, we've separated into our teams. It was basically the SGS group, our school group, and Tom's other friends.
Yeah.
Is basically
what
their
team
team.
The team.
But it really just it was really fun because like it was like,
and yeah, you don't need code words to do well. Speaking in plain English is fine. Like all the stuff that we joked about in the beginning, like code words, walkie-talkies, never actually needed them.
I think what I want to try next is something like laser tag, because that's a similar yet different experience. But I want to do outdoor laser tag, not indoor laser tag.
I played indoor laser tag for like half an hour. It was fun, but I think the paint, like if you manage to have a whole day's worth of shooting each other, like kind of like
I think what was even better is the fact that I was outdoors. Like being in the forest while you're playing was just
nice,
amazing.
Yeah,
it was just so cool.
Yeah,
but like that was definitely definitely a good way to like for team building and stuff. It's definitely really cool, and it forces you to think in different ways, like because you actually have to think about like strategies or like who's gonna do what. It's like what we do in our video game sort of times, like in Bedwars, where we split the roles and stuff, but we're doing it in real life. Like we're doing it ourselves.
We're gonna segue into Bedwars now because I know we have like tactics for Bedwars. When we play Bedwars, we all have like our jobs. So I mean this episode is all about like friend groups and stuff. So I'm gonna start off with like the sort of people we play Minecraft with. So I believe that the Bedwars group consisted of like 3 people in the very beginning, right? You want to talk more about that?
It was me, my friend Zach, who is not from our current school, but it's a friend that I had sort of just left because I moved school. But I was just really close with him because of Minecraft, really. And then there was our other friend, who we both know. And it was her brother as well, sort of loosely. But we basically started playing on this SMP server, which Zach had managed to get into, and it's an invite sort of SMP server, so it's not this massive server with a bunch of shops. It was just literally an SMP. But then that sort of moved on to that. That was before Bedwars even came out, right?
And then when
Bedwars came out. It came out in 2017.
That's when I joined, because that's when I reinstalled.
Yeah, around that time. Yeah, it was also in year 8 as well. So choir.
And that's when we started choir. So that's when we started hanging out with each other, talking to each other.
Bedwars is it's an amazing game to play. Like Abigail, Zach, and I had already been playing a different game previously called Egg Wars. So Egg Wars was just really fun to get into, and obviously having played it from the start and having played it relatively consistently with like at times I had a few months break, but it was fun to see the game evolve at first, and now it's fun to try and compete with the people who are really good at the game, while we're sort of like, we're not bad but we're not great.
But also like we've seen the group grow, because I think for a long time it was just us 4, right? Like until Gabriel. But it was just us 4 or 5. But then recently, 2020 went, especially over lockdown, we got loads more people joined. So now we've got like another 5. It's very hard to get 4 people because normally 10 people join the game.
But now it's hard to play Bedwars because we have too many people.
Yeah, we
compared
just
to
have
before
too
where
many nowadays.
But
So
I think it started with me inviting one of my Discord friends. Then we also had like somebody else from school who we don't normally play Minecraft with, but I talked to quite a lot. And then we had our other friend Enzo invite his friend as well, and sort of like it's really good. And now we've got new people.
And then
from
in
the
sixth
school
form,
well,
we've got the externals who joined. So now we've got even more people.
It's only like really one person, to be honest.
Only one person. Shout out to you, Amber.
But yeah, Bedwars, like paintball, it's a way to like come together. In a weird way to describe a Minecraft minigame.
But like even with the new people, we still have this close knit strategy. I'd say like we all know what we're gonna do. We all know every other person's role to play. Like everyone's got their job, and we don't even need to talk about tactics because we just do
like
it.
I said before. Yeah, that's why I sometimes find it sometimes hard to play with new people because, like, people like you, especially who I used to play Bedwars with while you were muted, even, right?
Yeah, like we don't need to talk to each other to know what we're doing. I don't even need to talk to you, I guess. Like I can play a game and perfectly function as a useful team member even if I'm not communicating. It's because like we know what we're doing. We know what other people are doing.
Definitely fun to see how not only our own playstyles of Bedwars, but how maps and new maps have come out, and how our own playstyles have changed to adapt to the meta of Bedwars. Not only the maps, but like how other people play. We have to match them in our own ways, right? And sometimes that means doing what they do. But it's like
sometimes I feel like I need to adapt more myself because sometimes I can't adapt to like what we call sweats, the ones who are who try very hard at the game, and sometimes I just sort of like get demotivated to be good.
Who are really?
Yeah. Anyway, we're coming up to.
Almost the end, really.
We're coming up to the end. Like I know you wanted to talk more about Bedwars, but we're gonna have to move on.
We have to move on.
We're gonna move on to the new segment of the show, or relatively new, called. Okay, last time I didn't have a good name for it, but I think we've got a good name for this segment now, and we've decided to call it Autocomplete. Insert fun music here. So, Autocomplete is this new segment of the podcast where we type in a letter into our search bar, and whatever Google recommends to us, that's what we're going to talk about for the next 5 minutes.
And I've already got a letter for you.
Okay, what's the letter?
I used the number generator like last time, and we got G.
G, okay. So I've typed in G, and I get the Google Autocomplete game.
Oh, interestingly, what I got immediately is the anime I was watching.
Yeah.
Because I have this tendency, especially when I watch it in English, because there's a lot less English voice actors and it's a lot more recognizable for me. But in terms of voice actors, whenever I hear a voice actor that I might recognize, I try to go search up the anime's English voice actors because I'm like, I've heard this before. Who else have they voiced? Why do I know you? And where do I know you from?
Yeah,
sort of thing. And I very much like to.
And who's this guy called? What's this guy called?
This anime.
Yeah.
No, it's an anime.
What's the anime?
It starts with a G. It's called Grand Quest Senki. It's the one I mentioned earlier, which was a lot to do about war.
All right.
And stuff.
Anyway.
And I got Google Gmail general knowledge quiz and games, so very G sort of stuff.
All mine are just Google Autocomplete and Google Autocomplete game because I was searching for names for this podcast. So that's why Google Autocomplete is what comes up.
Google Autocomplete games. I haven't actually played this game properly, but Google Feud.
Yeah, that
was a big thing.
Autocomplete game, right? Where you.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a nice game as well.
It's where you guess what Google autocompletes,
top
right?
10, yeah, the top 10 autocomplete.
It reminds
So
me
like
of
say
those celebrity videos where I think it's made by Wired, and they have this board,
oh
and
yeah,
it's like about celebrities, and it's like complete the autocomplete thing, which is what this reminds me
even
of.
if
It's
we
basically the
don't
same.
think about that, Google Feud was already like quite a big thing a year or two back. Really, everybody played it and say, "Oh my god, oh wow."
Yes, it was interesting. So apart from Google autocomplete, I had Google Santa Tracker, which was
Ah,
some like it's got like fun Christmas games on it. I did that when I was a bit bored, like last night. Well, not
it was the
last night,
track for Santa. If he
a couple of
existed,
days
who
ago.
knows? We don't know. But where he would be during the Christmas.
Yes.
Yes.
So that
I
is
mean, I watched
auto.
Klaus.
Oh, you watch Klaus? Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Is it good? I heard it's
Yeah,
very good.
we can mention it in a later episode, right? And like an episode more suited for its existence, right? But it was a nice film. It was, of course, I haven't seen many Christmas films, so compared to other people, I can't judge it against Christmas films. But it was a very nice, heartwarming film.
Yeah. Anyway, that is the segment autocomplete complete. That is a bit of a weird thing to say.
Nah, that's what we have to. That's how you have to end that segment. That is autocomplete complete.
Yes. So now we're going to move on to the question of the day, and this one was sent by Seb. And the question is, what? No, this wasn't sent by Seb. Seb sent a question, but that's not for today's episode. This question is just some random question. So, what decade do you wish you had grown up with, or so basically like in terms of like movies and things that you or music that you wished you grew up with, basically.
I
like,
have
when
a very
would you
simple answer
be born?
Well,
Yeah.
okay, you say it first because I've thought about this a lot. Really,
I don't know actually. Some part of me wants to have been born in the 70s, so I grew up during the 80s. And then I wouldn't also. I'd probably be more successful in life because you know how we joke about millennials and stuff not being able to afford a house. And like maybe being in that generation, it would be much easier to.
I mean, I don't think about things financially. If I think about my interests being like Pokemon, Beyblade, anime, Marvel, Star Wars, I think sometimes I wish I was born like maybe even 5 years earlier, right? Like in like the late 90s or early 90s. I feel like if I were to give it, I wouldn't say something like, oh, the 70s or 80s. I would simply say the 90s, just a bit earlier so I could experience what I love.
So for me, it's either the 70s or the 90s because I think it would be nice to have been growing up during the prequels / Harry Potter and Pixar.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great time to be growing.
Yeah. But also, I don't think the time we grew up was bad either because we grew up with the older stuff and the newer stuff. So like, and like, especially for me, somebody like I've mentioned this so many times of like how I went back and watched older sort of older like animated films, like, even if it's not the Renaissance era, you know, and catching up to that. But like, yeah, it's definitely like growing up as a 2000s, mid 2000s born child was not bad.
At least we weren't born in the 2010s. Who have to grow up with TikTok and
when you think about that, it's crazy.
They're 10 years old. Like, or 8.
Yes, exactly.
How?
Like, oh my god.
It feels like yesterday they were babies, but now they're grown-up kids.
We're not even old, but considering like what we're interested in, sometimes I do feel old.
But like,
we should
generation's fine, I think.
Yeah, our generation.
We have access to the internet. I mean, growing up with the internet.
I'm gonna mention Tommy Innick quickly. Like in his 1 mil video, he was talking to some like kids who were like 14, and I was scared of them. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go watch Tommy's 1 mil celebration video. But I was scared watching that video.
Why? What's up with that?
Like, it's sort of like street kids. You think of like, like, you know. But I was like, we're relatively the same age. What's the difference? But anyway, I think we're coming up to the end here, Seth. Really.
Yeah, so
we've talked about a lot.
We talked about a lot, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed hearing about our weird friend groups, especially the cult. And yeah, Thanks everyone for watching or listening, and we will see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe or follow and share. Make sure you share.
Yeah. And we upload every 2 weeks as well, so come back next time.
Yeah, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.